The Stockton Police Department reported a series of homicides over the weekend. Authorities have now released a video of a suspect allegedly responsible for the murders in what might be part of a serial killings. Detectives and officers have been investigating a series of murders in Stockton that are believed to be connected. Detectives also conducted a follow-up with the surviving victim from the shooting on April 16, 2021. She described the suspect as a male of an unknown race, 5'10" to 6 feet tall, thin build, wearing a dark-colored hooded sweatshirt with the hood pulled up, and dark-colored pants. The person was also wearing an all-black COVID-style mask. The reward for information leading to an arrest in this investigation has now increased to $125,000. The CEO of a U.S. election software company has been arrested. A California district attorney alleges it's related to stolen data from county workers and that the company stored information on servers based in China.
Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon announced Tuesday an arrest as part of an investigation of data theft and storing data on servers in China.
We're here today to announce the arrest of Yuyin Yu, who is a chief executive officer of Canic Corporation in Michigan, in connection with the theft of personal data of Los Angeles County election workers.
Investigators seized hard drives and other digital evidence.
The investigators have been conducting searches of his home and other Canic locations in Michigan.
According to the district attorney's office, the investigation is concerned solely with the information of election workers, stating that the allegations had no impact on election results.
At issue here is the theft of personal identifying information of election workers in Los Angeles County. This information is not, I repeat, it is not related to election material or voter information.
The Michigan-based company is responsible for the software used in managing Los Angeles County election poll workers. According to Gascon's office, Conic won a 5-year, $2.9 million contract with LA County in 2020 for its election worker management system named Poll Chief that was used by the county in the last California election. Conic was supposed to securely maintain the data and that only United States citizens and permanent residents have access to it. Investigators found that in contradiction to the contract, information was stored on servers in China. A day before Yu's arrest, the New York Times reported on October 3rd that Conic had become the target of allegations that it has ties to the Chinese Communist Party. The company denies the allegations. On September 12th, Conic sued a nonprofit vote monitoring organization called True the Vote for repeatedly making, quote, false and racist accusations against Conic. The organization claims that Conic is tied to the Confucius Institute, a CCP organization that spreads propaganda through Western universities. NTD reached out to Conic for comment. The district attorney's office is seeking Yu's extradition to Los Angeles. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Pedestrians will soon be able to cross the street outside of an intersection without being ticketed, as long as it's safe to do so. NTD's David Lamb spoke to pedestrians in Silicon Valley to hear their take on it.
This crosswalk was installed to allow the community members to go to their local park safely. Now, in January, people who jaywalk and don't use a crosswalk may only get a citation if it's deemed dangerous.
California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill on September 30th that allows pedestrians to jaywalk without getting a ticket. Assembly Bill 2147, also known as the Freedom to Walk Act, allows an officer to stop and cite for jaywalking, quote, only when a reasonably careful person would realize there is an immediate danger of a collision.
Well, who's going to decide if it's dangerous or not? I mean, I don't think jaywalking should be allowed. I think there's plenty of crosswalks to do it safely.
I think it's a good thing. I think a lot of times most citizens can decide for themselves whether or not it's safe to cross and so just removing that fear of getting a citation is, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a positive thing.
The bill's author, Assemblyman Phil Ting of San Francisco, said it should not be a criminal offense to safely cross the street when expensive tickets and unnecessary confrontations with police impact only certain communities. It's time to reconsider how we use our law enforcement resources and whether our jaywalking laws really do protect pedestrians. Ting's office says jaywalking is arbitrarily enforced in the state, with tickets targeting certain communities more than others, and has sometimes escalated to violence. Under the legislation, jaywalking is still prohibited, but people won't get a citation for it unless there seems to be an immediate danger. Therese Lehan lives in San Jose, and she says this toddler gives her reason to use the crosswalk. He also likes pushing the button.
They can put flashing lights on crosswalks that aren't at traffic lights. That would be definitely better. They have put it at some of the crosswalks on the Alameda, but not all of them. And I don't understand why they just don't put it on all of them, especially if fatalities are going up.
Pedestrians and drivers are not relieved from the, quote, duty of using due care for their safety.
If you get a citation, you get a citation or you pay a fine, but I do actually think that we should all cross at crosswalks. People drive too fast, it's dangerous.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people might not even be aware of the law change, and so I think people are going to probably continue to govern themselves the way that they always have.
The law takes effect on January 1st, 2023, and by 2028, the California Highway Patrol is required to submit data and evaluate the impacts from the new change. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
While Americans enjoy religious freedom, many people around the world don't have that right. At an event in Southern California, NTD's Jackie Rios heard from religious freedom advocates from around the world. They came to speak about its importance and that Americans need to work to keep that right.
The second Indo-American Christian Leadership and Religious Freedom event was held at the Huntington Club in Huntington Beach. The event was to highlight concern over religious freedom. The keynote speaker of the event was Salima Masari, an Iranian who served as the district governor for Afghanistan from 2018 to 2021. As governor, she recruited over 600 men to fight the Taliban. Masari expressed concern for the Western media's focus on only one tragic event, an Iranian woman dying after alleged beatings, rather than more widespread issues.
I'm a little bit concerned about the Western country who just see one woman, what happened to her. Of course, it's sad and really feeling sad for what happened for the woman in Iran. But the concern is that I have is that how the Western country, the one person's voice, what happened to her. But hundreds Afghan women happening the same situation in Afghanistan, and nobody hear their voice and nobody do something for them.
The event organizer Lyle Sunny-Meager shared his concerns of governments who are not only suppressing religious freedom but also suppressing human rights.
It is very important because these days you see what is happening around the world. China, Russia, and the Chinese Communist Party are trying to suppress the human rights of people. Iran, Middle East. The news media also, they talk about climate change is one of the major issues, but I don't think so because religious freedom is the most major issue right now.
There was a panel discussion where community female leaders spoke. One panelist who grew up in Iran remembers feeling suppressed due to her mother being a Christian.
It terrifies me to think that someday that could happen here, even in the West. So my perspective is that we have to educate the next generation on the benefits of religious freedom and how that without religious freedom, we don't have the freedom of speech, expression, to fellowship, to even be creative artistically or to have a business idea. I mean, there's so many restrictions that come when we don't have religious freedom.
Jack Guerrero, a candidate for California treasurer, emphasized the importance of people standing up for freedom of religion.
We need to be very vigilant as Americans whenever politicians decide to undermine liberty and freedom in our country. And I think it's our responsibility as Americans to stand up.
Several community leaders, politicians, and religious leaders were present. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Huntington Beach, California.
Fleet Week is back in the San Francisco Bay Area in time for the Columbus Day weekend. Thousands of visitors and residents are expected to attend Fleet Week, which started on Monday and runs through October 10th. The Blue Angels will amaze viewers with their Stunful Air Show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The show is expected to be more popular this year after the successful movie Top Gun Maverick. The Blue Angels will head to Jacksonville, Florida next.